Sound of Freedom continues to make waves at the box office. The film has absolutely broken all expectations. It had an increase at the box office in its second weekend. This is historical. You do not see this with films having increases in their second weekend after their opening weekend. Not at all. You don't see that at all anymore. So we got a press release from Angel Studios announcing that the Jim Caviezel-driven film grossed $27 million in its second weekend, an increase of 37% from its opening weekend of $19.6 million. Angel Studios head of theatrical distribution Brandon Purdy pointed out the historical significance of the film's second week increase, saying there have only been 10 wide release movies in box office history that have had a second weekend increase greater than 35% over their opening weekend. All of them did it at Christmas. Angel Studios is the only studio to do this in the summer blockbuster season with Sound of Freedom. So that is extremely, extremely impressive. And I don't think they're done yet. I think that they are going to continue to basically break the narrative of the box office. This is the story of the box office this summer. It is Sound of Freedom basically coming out of nowhere to dominate domestic box offices right now. The company's senior vice president of global distribution, Jared Giese, boasted about the film's success, and I even think he took a shot at some of his company's competitors, saying while the entire summer movie box office lineup is underperforming, there's that shot at the competitors underperforming, our small independent film continues to grow week over week, driven by millions of fans and supporters. Sound of Freedom has become a national and soon international movement for change. So we got the promise that they are going to be releasing this in international theaters. They're probably working on figuring that out right now. And it definitely has become a movement here in the United States as people are going to see this in droves. But let's get back to these numbers and just show you kind of how impressive they are. The movie's second weekend gross of $27 million brings the film's total domestic gross to $85.4 million. It has now grossed more at the box office than major studio superhero films such as Shazam! Fury of the Gods. That film only took in $57.6 million at the domestic box office. It's quite likely the film could best The Flash by its third weekend. The Flash has only grossed $106.8 million domestically and only brought in an abysmal $720,000 in its fifth weekend at the box office this past weekend. And its theater count has now dropped to less than 800. That film is dead. It's absolutely dead. It's pretty much not going to be making any more money. Other films it will likely best include Paramount Pictures' Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, Megan, and Scream 6. Dungeons and Dragons only grossed $93.2 million domestically. Megan brought in $95 million, and Scream 6 grossed $108.1 million. So that one might be a little bit tougher to get. But Angel Studios actually expects the film to cross the $100 million mark sometime this week before its third weekend in theaters. So that means it could even beat out the Walt Disney Company's Elemental, as well as Universal's Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish grossed $124.3 million, while Elemental has currently grossed $125.2 million. It did make 8.7 in its fifth weekend at the box office and seemingly still going strong. It is having really good returns week over week. It's not really losing significant amounts. The issue is that it had just such a poor opening weekend at sub $30 million. So depending on how well the film does moving forward, it is possible it could break into the top 10 grossing films domestically for the entire year. So let's just kind of look at that right now. You can see here, obviously, Super Mario Brothers is at the top with $573.9 million. It looks like it might stay there. We'll see if Mission Impossible, Barbie, or Oppenheimer can bust it out anytime soon, but we might have to wait when we get closer to that Christmas season to see if something can defeat it. Spider-Man is right there, but let's get down here. You can see already Sound of Freedom is in 18th. It's already ahead of Evil Dead Rise, Cocaine Bear, A Man Called Otto, Insidious: The Red Door, and Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Within striking distance, as I said, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, Megan, The Flash, Scream 6, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Elemental. I think there is a possibility that it could best Fast 10 and Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Those films are pretty much done now. $152.7 million for Transformers, $145.9 million for Fast 10. Indiana Jones is going to be a little bit of a bigger ask. 145.3. It's still in theaters after its third weekend, still bringing in millions of dollars. So that's going to be a little bit of a harder ask. But if Sound of Freedom continues its word of mouth, continues getting people out to theaters, continues having people buy tickets for other people to go see, it is possible that it could get over that. I mean, I think it's definitely possible that it could even double what it's done so far. I mean, we saw a 37% increase in its second week. It's possible that it could have another increase in its third week. I don't know if that's likely, but it is possible. Even if it has another like low return and it's only doing maybe it only does what it did in its first week and it does like 20 million or so. I mean, we're still thinking that's putting it at 120 million. That's already within striking distance at Elemental, and depending on how long it stays in theaters, I definitely think it could beat some of these other films. And who knows, maybe it starts getting some return viewers as well. They start bringing their friends out to see it or whatnot. So this is huge for Sound of Freedom. Definitely the story of the box office this summer, and definitely making waves, upsetting the cart over there in Hollywood land.